Oi, gente. O meu nome é Bianca. Eu trabalho na BRASA como coordenadora de projetos pré-universitários para a Europa. E eu estou aqui com a Smília da Ben, a Admissions Officer da Sciences Po, que vai contar para vocês um pouquinho como é que é o processo de admissão para a Sciences Po. Projetos pré-universitários para a Europa. E eu estou aqui com a Smília da Ben, a Admissions Officer. Aguardo. Smília?
Sim, bom dia. Smília da Beni, eu estou trabalhando aqui em Sciences Po e na sua disponibilidade para falar sobre o processo de admissão em Sciences Po e o que é Sciences Po e qualquer pergunta que vocês têm para mim, aqui estou para contestar. Meu português é bem ruim, então vou tentar falar de vez em quando em português, mas acho que é melhor que eu falar em inglês, por enquanto.
Tá ótimo.
Então, I'm going to present Sciences Po in very briefly to you. It is a leading university in the social sciences in Europe, of course in France, a prestigious university. What I would like to say above all is that if you are planning on coming to Sciences Po, first of all, you would need to like the social sciences, for example, working with people, for people in the future. Because when you come to Sciences Po, usually our students don't have a specific idea on what they will be doing in the future. So it is not like a university that you come to study uniquely or only economics or only law or only sociology. You come here to discover all of these disciplines, all of these subjects in the social sciences, so that you understand this complex world we're living in. In any case, for the first 2 years. It's only in the third year that you will start to major in one of our core disciplines. So you would either major in economics or in sociology, in political science, in law, or in history. So that's in a nutshell what Sciences Po is about before you specialize in a certain area in the master years in year 4 and 5. Also, what I think is very unique in Sciences Po is that students, parallel to their study in the social sciences, they can open their horizons to different regions of the world. We have today 7 different programs that are focused on different regions of the world. I am physically working in the Euro Latin American campus here in Poitiers. It's about 1 hour and 30 minutes away from Paris in the fast train. So we have approximately 200 students focusing on Latin American issues. So if you are interested in learning about different issues in Latin America, if your intention is to go back to Latin America and work there with a solid background in the social sciences, then in that case, Poitiers would be a good idea. But as I said before, we have 7 programs. We have covered the planet. We have programs focused on North America, on Asia, on the Middle East, on Africa, and on Europe. So, of course, I was reading some of the questions that had been asked previous to this interview. One of the questions was, well, I, as a Brazilian, would I have to go to the Euro Latin American campus? Well, no, unless you are interested in Latin American issues and it's something that you're passionate about. Of course, I would advise you to come to Poitiers because it would be the best option for you. But if you are maybe, I know that in Sao Paulo there's a population, a big Lebanese population and Syrian population that would maybe be interested in knowing more about trying to figure out what's going on in the Middle East, well, in which case that program would be of interest to you. So, of course, you have the option of choosing your program to start your studies in Sciences Po. That's more or less, in a nutshell, what Sciences Po is about. We are number 5 ranked worldwide in political science and international relations. So, in which case that would be a nice degree to have in hand when you will start looking for a job after your graduation. I think that after the questions you'll be asking me, maybe we can further talk about Sciences Po and especially the admissions procedure that I would like very much to help you with if you have any questions.
Okay, perfect. Maybe we could go to the first questions that were sent to us. I'm going to ask them in Portuguese, but you feel free to answer it in English if you want.
No problem.
The question is, o que vocês mais avaliam no perfil do aluno no momento da seleção?
Okay, that's a very nice question. As I said, excuse me, as I said at the beginning, we're looking for students that are very enthusiastic when they go to school and when they go to class, which means that these are students that are curious about what's going on around them, what's going on in the world, that would like to understand the world that we're living in a little better. And for that, they will need to show us that they have good knowledge in history, in some kind of interest in economics, because these and political science, because these are subjects that they are bound to study here in Sciences Po, that they have to like, because it's pluridisciplinary. So there are a lot of different courses going on in Sciences Po, not only one specialization. So we're looking for students that are curious, that like to study, that like to read, that are willing to learn if they do not already know how to speak before an audience, before one person or before 500 people. So these are the students that we're looking for. Students also that have been participating in projects in their own schools, students that take part in associations, for example, and that are willing to help the community, not only on what's going on in the school, but also what's going out of the school in community service, for example. So these are the things that we understand from the student when he sends us a resume, for example, in the application form. So briefly, that's the student we're looking for.
Okay, great. I think also a lot of our mentees have questions about the level of French needed to get into Sciences Po. If maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yes. All right, so Sciences Po is an international university. We have 1 out of 2 students that come from abroad. This does not mean that these students, 50% of our students that come from abroad, speak French. In fact, we have in most of our programs the possibility of participating in this program without knowing French. However, there are certain programs, including the Euro-Latin American program in Poitiers, where you will need a B2 level in French. What I would advise is that you look into our website and look up the undergraduate program in Sciences Po, and you will see a detailed description of each of our programs. North American program, for example, the North American program, the Middle East program, and the Asian program offer courses entirely in English. So you will not need a B2 level of French to go into those programs. However, the other 4, you will need a little bit of French to be able to participate in those programs. So it's a little bit complicated to talk to you about this now because there are a lot of programs and it would take a lot of our time. But please look further into it on our website. For the Poitiers campus, Euro-Latin American program, it's an interesting program for Brazilian students because although you do need a B2 level of French, you will be participating in courses taught in English, Spanish, and French, and including Portuguese. So the good thing about our program is that our students, when they get out of the 3rd year, which is compulsory abroad, they do have 4 languages in their resume. So that's a big plus for them.
Yeah, for sure. Talking about personal experience, this was one of my main reasons for choosing to go to Sciences Po. So another question that I think is interesting is about the campus decision. So one person asked us if applying to 2 campuses will increase our chances of getting accepted, or will it, or doesn't have anything to do?
No, it will not necessarily increase your chances to be accepted. However, the application form does give you the opportunity of choosing 2 campuses. What you have to know is that the choice of, there has to be a priority. So if you choose, for example, as first choice, the Poitiers campus, Euro-Latin American program, and second choice, the campus in Reims, the Euro-American program, you have to know that your first choice will always prevail, in the sense that it is your priority choice. Your letter of motivation must include, of course, this priority choice. It must include both choices, of course, because we will need to know why you put the second program in second choice. But the first choice is always the most important because it will determine your interview, because there is an interview after Sciences Po reads your application form. So that interview, for example, if you do choose the Euro-Latin American campus, your interview will be about Latin America and what's going on in Latin America. And what is more, you will be receiving a newspaper article on current events of the region. So just be careful with that. Now, as a Brazilian, in terms of, okay, what if you ask yourself, what choice of campus would be best for me? Well, you have to do a certain exercise of introspection. Think about what your passions are, and for example, if you consider yourself as a young person who is very, worried about what's going on today in terms of terrorism, and every time you open the newspaper, that's what you read because that's what interests you. And well, that tells us that you are curious about that region of the world, and maybe the Euro Middle Eastern campus would be a campus for you, and you can put that campus as priority, as first choice. Just what you have to know is that you have to convince us that it is your first choice and why. And that we will be able to read in your letter of motivation concerning that first choice. So yeah, that would be all concerning that.
Mm-hmm. And another question that we received was regarding the double diplomas. And I think some of our mentees are a little confused about how many options they can choose, including a double diploma in the campuses, and if it is different in the time of applying, what they have to do to stand out as someone applying for a double diploma.
Okay, so let me go over the different double diplomas that we have here in Sciences Po at the undergraduate level. Because at the graduate level, we have other double degrees, 32. So you'll have time to check those out later on in life. For the undergraduate program, we have, if I'm not mistaken, 7 double degrees. Let me go over them. We have 2 double degrees in North America with Berkeley University and Columbia University in New York. In other regions of the world, we have in Canada, we have University of British Columbia in Vancouver. We have in Europe, University College London. Also in Germany, the Free University of Berlin, Freie Universität. In Asia, we have Hong Kong University and National University of Singapore. And I'm trying to remember, yes, and in Australia, we have University of Sydney. I hope I haven't forgotten any. In any case, you have the possibility of applying to any of those double degrees. The only thing you have to know is that the application form is different. So if you're planning on applying to one of those universities, you will have to go through our website, in the Sciences Po website, and click on double degree bachelor's, and you will see that for each offer there's a different application form. So there are two application forms. One for Sciences Po, the simple or the traditional program, which is a 3-year program with a 3rd year abroad compulsory. And there's the double degree, which is a 4-year program. The first 2 years are exclusively in Sciences Po, in one of our regional campuses. And the last 2 years are in the partner university, where at the end of these 4 years, the student will be earning two bachelor degrees, one from Sciences Po and one from our partner university. So in fact, it's your decision. It's up to you to figure out which is the program that most interests you. You may, of course, for example, apply to the double degree with Columbia University, for example, and on another application, apply to the Sciences Po traditional program. So again, I invite you to go through our website and see what is best for you. In terms of admission rates, I can say with experience that, for example, Columbia University, there's an admission rate today of approximately 24%, which isn't bad. If you consider that if you apply directly to Columbia, in the traditional Columbia program, it's about 7%, all right? That's because our pool of international students is smaller, of course. And the same goes for Sciences Po. We have at the international admissions service, we have a 24% also admission rate. So 1 out of 4. I don't know if I answered correctly or if you have any doubts on what I just said.
No, I think it was really clear. Another thing that I think that people are not sure about is if the admission rate changes if someone needs a scholarship to get into Sciences Po or one of the double diplomas.
Not at all. Scholarships, in fact, when you ask for a scholarship to Sciences Po, you will be doing so at the same time that you apply. And one thing has nothing to do with the other. You may be admitted and not get a scholarship. It all depends on our criteria. And or you may be admitted and get a scholarship. It has nothing to do with it. So it is up to you to decide to come to Sciences Po when you're admitted if we don't give you a scholarship. Or because you don't have a scholarship, it is up to you, to decide if you're coming to Sciences Po or not.
Okay, perfect. I don't know, maybe it'll be interesting for you to give us some tips on how a person can stand out during their application or during their interview and really catch your attention.
Okay. As I said before, in the application form, the letter, I guess you could call that a letter of purpose. Why Sciences Po in the first place? Why that campus in particular? And then talk a little bit, of course, about yourself. What brings you to Sciences Po? Why you think this program is best for you? So the letter of motivation, what we call the letter of motivation, is something very important for us. Because, and I cannot give you a standard procedure on how to write the letter, unfortunately, because we are looking for individual profiles. So that application, in that application form, I think the letter is one of the most important documents. In terms of the length of that letter, it's about 1.5 pages or 2 pages, about 1,000 words. So that takes time. It takes time to write, because in order to write a letter of motivation for any university to which you're applying, it's important to know who you're applying or which university you're applying to. And so that takes some time to study what that university is all about. In order to assimilate all that information, it takes time, and to recognize oneself in that institution. So I think that's what we mostly appreciate in a letter of motivation. Apart from that document, of course, we will be reading letters of recommendation, which will come from professors in the social sciences from your school. These professors know you. They can talk to us about your intellectual qualities as well as your personal qualities. You will not be able to read these recommendation letters, so you have to make sure to choose the right professors. Okay? Apart from those two documents, we also look at your grades, your marks, from the 3 last years of your secondary education. For Brazilian students, we also, if you have it, we look at the vestibular. You may be already admitted to a university. We would like to see that too. You may have a score in ENAM, if I'm not mistaken, that we will look at also. Okay, what else? A resume, telling us about what you do in class, out of class, if you take part in plays, if you do a sport, if you're in an association, if you help others, if you do some tutorship for students that need it, etc., etc. there's no limit in what you can do out of the classroom. After that, the admissions service will study that application form and consider it eligible or not eligible. If it is considered eligible for admission in Sciences Po, we will be asking you to sit an interview. And that interview, in the case of Brazil, it will be held in Sao Paulo. And this year, it will be at the beginning of May, which means that you will have to count 6 weeks prior to the interview, which would mean at more or less mid-March, you will have to be handing us the application form. So 6 weeks before the interview, which will be on the 2nd on May 2 or May 3, that would mean that by the time you finish your summer vacation and starting off a new year, you will be handing us your application form. I know that this is very late. If we compare it to the US standards and dates for application form deadlines, but you will be getting news from us on our admission maybe a week or 2 after your interview. So by mid-May, you will know that if you are admitted to Sciences Po or not. Taking into account that the interview determines your admission. Okay, so it's as important as your application form. And depending on the program you have chosen, if it's the Euro-American program or the Euro-Latin American program, the interview will be in French, Portuguese, or English. But if you can write back to me or ask Bianca, who knows how this works very well, she'll be able to tell you what language for which program. But you can see it on the internet too.
Okay, perfect. I think just the last question is that some of our mentees have already graduated from high school and are on their first year or first semester of university in Brazil, but they want to go study abroad, and notably at Sciences Po. So does this change their application process in any way?
Okay, that's a very good question. Of course, we are very familiar with the Southern Hemisphere calendar. So, which means that if a student has finished his or her secondary education in December 2016, which means now, this December, he or she may apply without any restriction starting now, okay? Starting October, even if next March you will be starting your first year of university studies. No problem. Now, if a student has obtained his or her secondary education in December 2015, which I think is the case in Bianca's question, and that the student has already gone through 1 or 2 semesters, I'm not sure, of studies in the university, you will be asked to write a waiver. You will be asked to ask for a waiver, which means that it's very simple. You will be writing a letter to the admissions office or the person responsible of the program you're interested in. For example, in my case, if you're interested in the Euro-Latin American program and that you are a little bit ahead in your university studies, you will be writing to me directly by mail in a letter explaining why you did not apply the year before when you were supposed to apply, the reasons, and a resume also, so I can see more or less in what level of studies you are in which case I will respond, giving you the possibility or not of applying to Sciences Po. But in most cases, we do give those students, those cases, the possibility of applying. But what you must know is that even if you have started university studies in Brazil and you are asking for a waiver, and if you're admitted at the end, you will have to start in the first year of Sciences Po. So there's no equivalence to whatever you've done in Brazil before you come to Sciences Po. I don't know if that was clear.
Yeah, it was very clear. I think it answers the question.
Great.
So I don't know, maybe you want to have some final thoughts or final tips?
Yes, maybe just some update on admissions. We have opened our admission process yesterday or the day before yesterday. So those of you who are wanting to apply to Sciences Po, to any of our programs, it's open. So go ahead and go visit our site, our website. And if you are specifically interested in our campus, Euro Latin American campus, please know that we have a Facebook account that is entirely dedicated to giving you information on deadlines, on information about the interview, on reading hints, what you can read before you come to Sciences Po, on what's going on in Sciences Po, in this campus, on the people that we invite. We've had really nice conferences all these years that might interest you too. Well, a Facebook page that can help you in the process of learning a little bit more about us. It is called, I'll tell you in a second. The Facebook is called Campus Euro Latinoamericano de Sciences Po, which is in Spanish or Portuguese, as you like. Bianca, can you see me?
Yeah, I can. I will send it to the mentees and publish it.
All
in
right.
the
Okay. I changed page, so I couldn't see you anymore. And another thing is, of course, if you're interested in my campus specifically, or in any other campus, and now that we've shared this information, Bianca can give you my email, and with great pleasure, I can help you through the process.
Thank you so much, Similia.
Muito obrigada para você e bom dia para todos.
Bom dia. Tchau.
Tchau, tchau.